So basically, these fuckers have ruined my life. I'm going to tell you why. Right now. Okay. So, before I get started, if you don't ship to your dog, please click off this video right now. As in, now. Because I'm angry. I'm going to stay angry. But yeah. Let's just get started. So basically, there's this thing called TV tropes. I will leave a link down below to the entire thing. But it's like, basically, there's this category expertly titled Ho Yay. If you didn't know, Ho Yay is a contraction of homoeroticism, yay, being the happy recognition of homoerotic subtext in a television show, film, book, or similar. Now that you know what Ho Yay is, it's time to get into why I'm angry at this ship that I have a love-hate relationship with. The first thing literally says, one of the most influential Ho Yay moments is probably this exchange of lines. Murdoch says, "I saved your life, you owe me your soul." 2D says, "Aw, I love you, Murdoch." I'm going to die, because it only gets worse. Not really worse, but like, worse, probably? Worse. Yeah. Then, the next bullet point says, Murdoch has repeatedly been implied to have some same-gender desires, not the least of these instances being at the end of the Dare video. AKA where he's in the bed with Sean Ryder. Yeah. Next bullet point. In the Dirty Harry music video when Noodle, Murdoch, and Russell show up in the ATV, Murdoch briefly gets out and is shown staring at 2D and clearly appreciating what he sees, before noticing one of the kids staring at him too, so he slaps the kid and averts his gaze. Kill me. Just kill me right now. Immediately. Next bullet point says, word of God when asked if there was anything between 2D and Murdoch was highly unlikely, but use your imagination. When asked if there was anything. I don't even know. But like the next bullet point says the odd placement of teeth marks of the love bite that 2D sports on the Demon Days cover could suggest that said love bite was made by Murdoch. The chloroform scene would be quite suggestive between 2D and Murdoch if taken out of context. Even before the chloroform scene, there's a bit of Ho Yay. Murdoch slaps 2D for speaking out of turn, or something along those lines, and his high-pitched shriek of a response sounds ridiculously pornographic, especially considering it comes from a man. Murdoch ordering him around afterward doesn't really help things either. Silent, and it's like, quote, "Silence, I'm spinning the discs here. You just sit there and shut it until I say so." Oh boy. Anywho, next bullet point says, Murdoch had a habit of stealing or scaring away 2D's girlfriends and kidnapped him, which some claim that is a sign of possessiveness. Plus, he called 2D pretty a few times. AKA an interview during Plastic Beach where he's talking about the first time he saw 2D stand up. He said tall, pretty. 2D pipes in with no eyeballs. Murdoch says, no eyeballs. Oh fuck. Next point says, Murdoch answering a fan question about if it gets lonely on Plastic Beach with just 2D around, had him responding with, I have measures in place to alleviate said loneliness, and I won't go into great detail about that. Fun! Next bullet point. 2D, who worships Murdoch, didn't make things easier with this line. It quotes, I don't want to scare you, Murdoch, but I'm locked in here with you. I do have a key somewhere, but I can't find it. I've been watching you, sleeping, and you're quite beautiful when you're quiet. Okay, let's continue. This bullet point is really long, so bear with me. Okay. It says, in Rise of the Ogre, it's mentioned that 2D has dedicated a song to Murdoch, which can have multiple interpretations given the heartbroken voice he uses for the song, quite different than his usual unemotional voice. That song being New Genius Brother. Apparently, he probably directed the song at Murdoch to express the bitter feeling he had after all the painful experiences he had to go through because of him, especially since 2D saw Murdoch as someone to look up to, even though the song can be perceived as something else entirely at times. Because of the song, 2D can also be viewed as some sort of love martyr, although it's unclear if it's in a platonic way or not. It gets worse. Good worse or bad worse, who knows. Next is next bullet point. Then there's this chat between Murdoch and 2D from Demon Days live in Manchester. It says live on Manchester, but it's live in Manchester. Murdoch says, I think I'd rather be having some kind of medical operation than sit here talking to you. Oh, dear God, you really are such an arse. 2D says, what? Does my bum look big in this? Murdoch says, you can definitely cut that one out for a start. You can't see it, but I'm smiling through the pain. Then it says, then there's this from the official Grillos forums. A fan says, have you picked up a nice boy with a pair of chopsticks yet? Noodle says, that is very funny. Murdoch says that he can pick up boys with chopsticks, but he has used his dictaphone. I do not understand this. Oh, Noodle. Sweet Noodle. Let's continue. Next bullet point says, 2D and Murdoch in New York. Notice 2D watching intently as Murdoch imitates sex acts. And continuing with the 2D and Murdoch in New York, the next bullet point says, could have been entirely accidental or not, but given the fact that 2D is really tall, he's like 6'2". Murdoch made a comment that was quite suggestive, or at least affectionate. Murdoch says, "I love New York." 2D asks, "Why is that?" Murdoch says, I don't know. It's just really tall. I'm in love with tall things, you know." In parentheses, it says, stares at 2D, who stares back. These fuckers. Next bullet point says, and this exchange of lines from Radio XFM. Murdoch says, "This is Tomorrow Comes Today. Hey, 2D, why don't you come and join me? It will be fun." 2D says, "You sure?" Murdoch says, "Yeah, come on, mate. I haven't seen you properly for ages. Hop on up." 2D says, "You're not gonna hit me, are you?" Murdoch says, "No, mate, no. Look, you and me need to stick together, remember? You know, you're thick. I'm hard. Eh?" I'm trying so hard not to laugh and cry. It's almost 5 a.m. I'm recording this dumb voiceover. Don't worry, it's like almost over. But like, there's like 4 bullet points left. After this would be 3. This one basically says the newspaper comic India thing at 3:41. I forget exactly what Murdoch says in the comic. Anyway. Next bullet point. In Rise of the Ogre, after being told the story about how 2D fell out of the tree and had all his hair grow back blue, Murdoch asks, "Collars and cuffs," to which 2D looks down awkwardly, scratching his head. Yes, Murdoch has inquired about the color of 2D's pubic hair. I hate them so much, and I love them. I'm conflicted, very conflicted. Next bullet point says, Murdoch makes a few uneasy references to being attracted to men in episode 1 of the pirate radio broadcasts. If I can find it, I'll link it down below. Shouldn't be too hard to find. Generally followed by frenzied laughter. Last bullet point says 2D seems to be wearing a straight razor around his neck with Murdoch engraved on it in one of the Gorillaz 2017 live tour promo shoots. Whew. Well then. So, yeah. This was a lot. And again, I will leave like any links down below that I can find. But yeah, hope you enjoyed. If you did, like, comment, subscribe. If you even stayed this long, I wouldn't have. I would not have stayed this long just to hear me ranting about 2Doc and why it's going to be the death of me eventually. But yeah, if you did enjoy, like and comment, and if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Turn on the bell for notifications. This is like the first video I've made with a voiceover, so be proud. Yeah. Bye.